Okay, so you're going to show me all of the left-hand lead 1-2 combinations that you use primarily.
Yeah, so typically I throw thumb lead, hip, flat snap, right? That's what I like to throw the most.
And do you throw it from that range right there?
Usually outside of traditional measurement, right? So when I'm throwing it, I like to be just where I can touch their equipment, and then that's a hop step, right? So that you get my flip flops off.
I was gonna say, are you gonna bust out your flip flops again?
No, every time I do flip flops, I die. That's proven by the last few, right? So when you're outside of measure, I do a lot of pushing with this hand, and from that push, I just follow. You know, it's just here with that. And so you see the timing on that 1-2 is very much 1-2. And so Jay Lee does front to front. He a lot of times he will cast at your forearm or cast at your thigh, and as he does that, he throws that real.
So what's the timing look like?
The Brownell's, he's more like a Brownell's jab, right? He's here because he can't go as high because of his wrist, right? And so his is very much how he hops, you know, that long double-footed hop, and it's right. And a lot of times he'll front blade block. It's only the last year that he's been working on turning over. So when he front to front, see how shallow the hand is? Because he comes back a lot of times and then just fronts or backs.
And the right hand's doing all the blocking.
Yeah, he just covers with this and then just will either throw.
And they're not gonna throw under that left hand because they don't want to get hit by the left hand.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they decide to throw under, we just go ahead and throw over, right?
Yeah.
And you're taking it bicep, tricep back, you know, or body. And they'll usually only do that once or twice before they're like, you know what? I don't like hitting the fucking arm.
So it's stalling out their block and keeping it there.
Yeah, and a lot of times if I throw and I want to throw again, and I see them throwing, you'll see Jay Lee, he just throws through them, right? He just fronts through them. You'll also see me throw the 1-2 to the head.
Yep.
And so I typically throw it, I don't throw it at the head a lot of times, I throw it at the back of the shoulder blade. Because most people have shoulder armor, most people have head armor, right? It's hard to hit a moving target with that thumb lead. And you'll see that now, as I jab step, when I throw it, it's very much, right? A lot of times I'll throw it moving to my right. And I want to hit them in the back. So typically I show this more as a big movement, and they'll see it, and the lag is a little bit longer, right?
So it's not as fast as the first one.
It's got a little more lag because the reason for that, I want them to see this and develop, right? And a lot of times they'll twist because I need the twist or I need the tuck or whatever to do it. I need that
to open the head.
To open the head,
yep.
Right? And so a lot of times the reason I do it is like I'll have done stab lead or I'll throw a single and they'll turn. And if I see them turn in my first shot, it'll follow with the 2. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be thrown from back. You just follow it typically with the right foot steps.
So the left hand coming out is at the same speed as the first one. It's just the timing between the left and the right delayed.
You wait longer, right?
Got it.
Because this is here, right? And so I have to wait a little longer to throw this, right?
And you're waiting longer to give them time to turn. Got it. Okay.
And a lot of times, and then you'll see like John Rick at the Princess Tournament, right? A lot of times I'll hit people's swords right there and or slap their face, right? And then when they see that, when they go to peek again, I throw that straight overhand thrust, and it's the same as the last one, right? So it's a stutter throw, and as they throw, I right behind it, just like
So is that right one always you're trying to touch them, or the right one is just to blind them, to get them to cover?
Just move shields. Like I really want them just to move their shield, right? So a lot of times I'm trying to hit their sword if their sword is too far out, or I'm trying to hit their shield, or I'm trying to make them. I want them to go up and close, right? Because all I care is that they blind themselves or that they look away, right? Because they're either looking away because they'll get hit in the eyes or they blind. Because a lot of times, if I do that or I throw a little jab, the moment I lose their eyes, the moment their eyes go away, I go ahead and throw at that arm.
So 2 things. So when you do that, if they completely cover, then you're going to throw the left at the arm. If they peek, then you're going to do a stab from it.
Well, it's from measure, right? So if I'm outside of measure, and a lot of times, and they stay, and they just, you know, they stay. A lot of times, I'll just go ahead and throw because I'm so far away that I can throw and give ground, or throw and then block. But if they look, a lot of times I can just stab or look, slot. Because the mechanics is the same, whether it's coming here or whether it's thrusting.
Do you find more success with the thrust or the slot?
I find success with the slot because it has the, with the thrust because it moves more, right? So a lot of times I can deflect a slot, like with the sword block or a little bit of shield. But because of where I am in space, my stab is so far outside, right? Because I'm not thrusting through like a fencer. When I throw, I'm out, right? And so if the shield edge is here, I'm inside of it. So a lot of times they'll close or they'll close both. I want the movement. To me, moving is good enough because now I get a free opportunity to go, right? Tension gives me space. So I'm like, I'll take that.
Right.
And Jaylee will do a lot more fronts. When he fishes, when you see him fish, he'll fish for that or he'll fish for that. And the moment he sees something he likes, he throws that basket down shot and he's looking to see whether he wants to front you or he's looking to see if he wants to front you, right?
So he's looking for what placement does he want with the front?
Yeah, but it's here, right? So because from Frank, you'll see him just cast it in a few times and then he uses his suddenness from outside of measure and people will draw. A lot of times they close, right? When they close, he just
And because he's been showing them a high,
Yeah.
and they draw up.
And remember, his is not the forward like mine.
Yeah.
His is that out, right? So
Right.
he's here, and because he went that way, 6-8 inches, and far as fuck forward, it's so much easier because he's not throwing it here. He's over here, just fronting,
Got it.
and he's so good at front to back or front. I didn't do it for so long because of my ocular. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see people from here to here for 12 years. Now I can. So I'm doing it more, but it's not as natural for me because I couldn't see it from.
So what's the front to back look like? You said he was doing front to back.
Oh, that's his secondary shot,
Okay,
right? So
secondary.
he'll front and then like this, and when it bounces back, he just sees what's not there and then just casts it back blade, right? So he'll front at the leg. A lot of times he'll get it and then just follow.
And the right sword is just staying at the normal block above.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're here and just, when he throws, it's like he looks and he blocks primary, right? Because he doesn't want to be slotted and he doesn't want to be thumb led, right? And so when people reach, he immediately just casts it back. He also does sword hand, like with a sword block. He'll throw into the sword block and then just
So what's the timing on that? Then those.
front to back.
Yeah. So what does that look like?
So it's a high hand, low blade, right? So whether we're throwing leg, arm, whatever it is, this is high because when I throw it on my left side, right, I don't want to be hit, right? So I can't throw it down, so he'll throw it high. So it's literally just I can do it better with my right. So
Okay.
it's just.
So there's no delay.
No, it's just boom.
Got it.
As soon as he casts it here, just bring that elbow through and then just recast.
So the front blade, when you're throwing it, you're not throwing it parallel. You're letting the tip drop.
Yeah, I want the tip to drop. The reason
Got
the
it.
tip drop is because that's safe. My blade is in front of me, right? And because if I bring my hand down, it brings my head forward and it makes me. So a lot of times he's bringing his body forward and he's here, right?
Yep.
Because his blade is so high, no matter where he threw it,
It's
right?
in the lane.
It's in the lane,
Yep.
and then he could just
Flip
he
it
doesn't have-
over, right?
He doesn't have to pick his hand up.
Right.
'Cause high hand is just here.
Well, he doesn't have to pick his hand is already high, so then he can just let it
All he
drop.
has to do is let it drop through,
Yeah.
right? So as long as his hand's above the second shot, it makes it a lot easier to throw that second. And we're not going up. We're not up to pick it up. It's just
Right.
boom, boom.
Which is the way most people throw it. Is they throw it this like parallel, and then they're picking their hand up, creating this giant arc and a lot more movement.
Yeah,
and
you
then
got that
throwing
big
it.
crescent on the back
And then
side
it
of
also is the reason why people, when they throw that, are getting hit on the same side body.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's why it's here, right? When you throw that, because he can hit your leg with a pretty high basket. He's throwing
Yeah.
your arm.
Yeah.
It's still usually around this. It's not quite in his face, but it's nipple height, right?
Yeah.
So he'll throw that, and it just bounces in there. It comes right under.
Got it. And that one does end up being parallel normally.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's because it's the easiest way to throw it.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, otherwise it's a pain in the ass.
Yep. And so he'll go front, back, and then he'll clear to see what you got, right? A lot of times if he usually throws back into your guard or just moves his last
Oh,
away.
so that was back blade, body to head, and then front blade to back blade, and then showing back blade to head.
Yeah.
And the head being that not being necessarily the flat snap to head, that was to the shoulder. That was the head, and then you did the one with the shoulder. Okay.
Yeah.
So what else? Anything else that's left hand lead?
My offside.
Okay. What does that look like?
So a lot of times when I'm up here, you know, I have my hands over and my sword is sideways, right? It's straight this way. Because a lot of people assume that when I'm throwing these back blades, I'm rolling, but my basket's already faced out, and so I just throw first, right? So it makes it easy to see. People see that, and they'll twist, right? And so from outside of measure, they'll see that, and all it is I roll my body here, and they roll with me, and then I just either crossfoot step, you know, if I'm at max range, like I'm back, I'll crossfoot step and in a reverse A-frame, right? Or I'll hop, right? And when I'm hopping, I'm going that way, right?
Careful that you don't hop into bob.
I'm not. But from here, instead of throwing that, a lot of times I'll land there, right? And I just.
So that's essentially 6 inches to the left from where your foot started, and then another
as far forward as
forward as you can go without leaning or falling down.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's a passing step, right? I'll throw it and I want to get close to ground, or I'm throwing it from big measure, and I'm just throwing it at the edge of measure because I want to see if they're chasing or not, right? Because if they're chasing, then I'll go ahead and come outside the frame.
Okay.
Because I fish, and then that's step 1, 2 as I go.
Okay. So can you show it at speed, what it looks like for the timing?
Yes, I can.
As soon as you move the ski erg so you don't
the
die.
ski erg's got to be a little further out of my way.
We don't want you to trip and die.
Only once.
Well, yeah, hopefully.
Is with the offside.
Would hate for you to do it once and then decide to go back to the well.
Yeah. So edge of their measure, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's that 6, 7 foot we talked about,
Yep.
right? And so from the edge of your measure, I'm gonna have that small, wide stance, and then from there, when I fish, you see that I push a lot, I show out, and a lot of times when people see that, I literally just, as I'm going, because I'm not having to go over my head because I'm going that way, right? Because when I step,
it's already there.
I'm just going straight in a line, but my body is going that way, and so my cut comes across. Right, so
and your cut is coming across.
It's not here.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting across. I'm going this way, and that cut is forward. So my offside is, I'm trying to hit them on the edges of the eye, going forward. And it looks like an offside because I go outside of my measure from in front of you. And that's what we talk about when you're pushing people. I try to fight, if they're right-handed, I try to fight their sword arm, right? And that's how you move your edges. And then when they pay attention to me rolling my weight, they'll turn or shrink.
They turn to the right.
Yeah, to their right, or they'll shrink down, right? And that allows me to get over, and I'm so far outside that it makes that follow-up shot much easier because I didn't attack them and then try to go around them. I went out and then past them.
So when you're throwing that offside, so you're stepping, you're doing a passing step to the left and far forward, from out of measure straight into edge of your measure, throwing the offside, right? Throwing the offside like that, and then your follow-up shot is down the left and right. Well, left and right, yes. Because you throw a third.
Yeah, because as soon as this hand's breaking over, right, I can use this hand so long as it stays in front of me. Right?
Yes.
So, and the flat snap is now out and over. I'm coming from that offside, right? And then as this hand goes, literally all I do is just get my elbow back in front of me and it goes forward, right? So you're here, you just, in this step.
Alright, so the whole thing. I love the little gun noises. I messed you up, I'm sorry. Try again. Sorry.
Sucks to do it barefoot.
Well, there's that too, because that wasn't it.
No, spell shit.
So there's a pause between the offside to get them to react to it, and then.
Because I need to see if they're going to peek or duck, right?
Got it.
Because if they stay down there, right? They stay there. I'll go ahead and take space, right? But if they start to look, right? They just bring their guard up as they're looking. It lets me throw again, right? Because I need to know if they're thrusting or throwing at my hand. I need a lag to make sure I won't die. And if they're gonna give me that half second, I'm gonna go ahead and take measure, right? Because I need to know, is their return instant? Are they looking first? Are they throwing at my leg? Are they throwing outside? What are they throwing? But once you see that they wait, I throw again.
So this offside at the pause after the offside isn't to get them to register. It's to give you time to decide which way to go.
Because I need to know what they do. A lot of times I already know their tendencies and their habits.
Well, yeah,
But a lot of times when you hit that outside, a lot of people will duck.
Duck, yeah.
And then they look, or they duck,
and then they
look,
yeah.
right? Or they duck and they shrink. You know, I need to know, what are they doing? What are they giving me, right?
So how do you handle it if they're not going to do any of those three? Instead, they're going to stab out of it.
Oh, we're talking about, so if that outside and the hand goes
Right.
down? So,
Yeah.
Lachlan or John Drake, very common when they did it.
Right.
A lot of times,
That's
as
why I
soon as I see that thrust coming center line right in my face,
Yep.
as soon as I see that, I back, right? So I'll see that, I'm not trying to deny it. I wait for the sword tip to come toward me, and I backed, right? And when I back, a lot of times the sword's going past me, I back and I just take space.
So is that the reason why you're not doing a hanging guard, is so you can clear the stab? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense now.
Offside, I will not hang, I want to reverse A-frame, right?
Yeah.
The only time I'm going to typically do that is here, right?
Yeah.
Right? Or, so from measure, if I'm just legging, it's pretty easy to throw that, right? A lot of times, I don't like a front into a hang, it's weird, because I can't get my hand back. But when I back leg, for me, because I can always crescent it down or recover, because I like this hand position better than I like this hand.
Yeah.
Jaylee, not as much.
Yeah.
But I'm here, and then I want to see, is he going outside, right? And a lot of people think they're slick, they're like, oh, I'm gonna stab him. And as soon as he does, I just back and take,
Yeah.
right? And then I
Because
don't
now
care-
you've got them completely
I
down.
don't care if you take it, and then I just get on top of your
Yeah.
sword. I don't care what you do now.
Yeah. Because you're maintaining contact with the sword at that
As soon as
time.
I back and take space, just throw.
Yeah. That sounds awful.
Well, once I'm inside your tip, right, say it's here, I'll throw a hard one, a hard two, and a lot of times you can go ahead and start moving, you know, and fight going to the side.
Yeah.
Because the tip's down. Because a lot of people, like, they can't pick it up, and so a lot of people will break their back trying to recover instead of just giving ground and keeping their posture. When they do that, that's when you're like,
That's when it's like max pain
yeah,
for them.
yeah. That's when I get that. That's when I get to be me. Get to have a little good time.
Yeah. So, any other like go-tos or things that you've been using that you really like?
Here lately, I've been doing a lot of jabbing at the sword hand, right? I'll try to jab just above their forte. They'll let me jab a lot of times because I want to see if they're blocking or if they're closing, right? So a lot of times, if I jab hard at the sword and I see them blocking, when I jab hard at the sword,
And this is assuming they're fighting sword and shield.
right-handed, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Right? Or I'll jab and then see what they got, right? And then instead of doing that, throw with the arm, jab into that thrust.
Yep.
A lot of times I'll jab and then just throw a shield slot, right? And not a Molinet, right? Because I'm not worried about hitting them.
Yeah.
I only want sword and shield movement, right? So if I throw into them and I throw that, a lot of people will close, right?
Yeah.
And I want the arm to move. I want it to come out the end. Because when it does, you just follow.
So the name of the game isn't I'm gonna one-shot you or 1-2-shot you. The name of the game is to get movement with the first shot.
Movement
so
or tension. I want you to
yeah.
freeze or I want you to start moving.
Right. So that's what you're trying to get.
Yep.
And then because they do the movement or tension, it automatically gives you a free throw after. Which is the reason why people think, oh, well, you're just so good, is because, well, no, you're just freezing them.
Yeah, freezing. Like Jamie likes to front to front. He throws a lot of times. The only time you really see me do that is you see that people who are trying to smother me. When I see their sword comes out, as soon as I see their sword come out, I'll just flat snap the piss out of it with my left hand, right? So I just hit it, right? Because I want to see what they do, right? And lots because I'm ready for a hang.
Hey, buddy.
And a lot of times I can chase that. I'll hit the sword, and then I can just chase the front like Jay Lee does. Because I can't go like he can anymore. So I'll hit their sword and go ahead and
So at this point, you're doing a hang on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because I want to know what I'm going to throw. Because I'm going to throw there or that Molinet. Molinet fight that.
All right. So thank you for going through your left-handed leads.
No problem.
So then next time we'll do right-handed leads. The few that you throw.
There are none.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I've seen you. I know you have actually two. You have two. You do. I know it.
There are none.
There are. There's two.
Zero.
There's two. We'll talk about it next time. It'll be a much shorter video. All right. Thank you.
No problem.